You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, there's a hell of a lot of rejection going on towards Angel Reese all of a sudden. But people are starting to get more and more vocal. I think people are starting to understand the Rookie of the Year race is really not close anymore. Was it ever close? I contend that it should have never been made into what it was, but ESPN really sort of grabbed a hold of the Angel Reese thing, and they tried to make it a speaking point, and we figured out their agenda very quickly and exposed it. Cheryl Swoops, another one of these ex-veteran WNBA players that can't stand Caitlin Clark. She's tried to make this an actual thing. There's a video out there of Angel Reese and Cheryl Swoops embracing, and I think it's clear there's been an agenda here. But we got Dan Patrick, formerly of ESPN, now of NBC Sports. Of course, he has the Dan Patrick Show that's extremely popular across the country, and Dan Patrick's been talking, well, I can remember him talking NBA and basketball 30-some years ago, back when I was like 12, 13 years old, and I'm turning 50 next year. Dan Patrick knows a hell of a lot about hoops. Well, he has come out, he's made some comments, and he's saying what everybody should know at this point. Caitlin Clark is the Rookie of the Year, and Caitlin Clark is the driving force in the WNBA. And before we jump into that, we've got a story that literally, I just found this before I just dropped, before I hit record on this video, and I said, oh, this is interesting. August 30th is the rematch, folks, between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. And look, it is a big game. This is the WNBA standings right here for the playoffs. Indiana's got a 1.5 game lead over the Chicago Sky right now. All right, if things were to end today, both teams would be into the playoffs. I still don't know and would love to know why FanDuel took the Rookie of the Year odds down. I contend they got a flood of money on Caitlin Clark after the last two performances, all right? But now we're getting some word as to what ticket prices are like, and we're still 9 days off from this game. Ticket prices are going to go up and get even harder to get. They're already damn high. I mean, they're really high. The Chicago Sky hosts the Fever for the last meeting between the two teams this season. The Fever is 2-1, by the way. Chicago is looking to even up the series after barely winning their first game against Indiana in June. Fortunately, they'll have home court advantage. This time, the game could not only be the deciding factor for the race of the Rookie of the Year, stop it, but also the playoffs. You see how this works. This is the sporting news. That's the media. Both squads sit right on the line of the top 8 teams for the playoffs, and the matchup results will go a long way. The Sky are rebuilding under first-year coach Teresa Weatherspoon, but are still fighting to return to the top of the league like they were 3 years ago. This is where ticket prices are right now. The final meeting between Clark and Reese, Chicago fans do not want to miss this. A week before the game tips off, the cheapest ticket is $180. You can get courtside seats for the ultimate matchup for $2,000. Wow, that's going to be at the Wintrust Arena in Chicago. There were a couple of tickets sold for their last matchup that went for $9,000. So ticket prices to get in to see this rematch, they're going to get ugly and they're going to get expensive. So let's go over to Dan Patrick because he made these comments on his show, and he's putting this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, I guess it's supposed to be an argument. Again, I think the argument's a wrap. I think it's over. even when Angel Reese has 19 points and 20 rebounds, you start actually digging into her game, and it's ugly. Not only that, she had that performance, her team lost by 20. Over a team that Indiana had just beaten by, 12? 10? And at one point was leading by 28? I think one thing's happening here. We're seeing the Indiana Fever become a much better team, and we see the Chicago Sky sort of being stagnant at this point. All right? So check this out. This is Dan Patrick, and, man, I give him credit. He's not falling victim to this bullshit argument the rest of the media's got.
Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon. And if I said to any of these people who think Caitlin Clark is not the Rookie of the Year, I'd say, who would you want to start your franchise with? Now, I'm not going to put Asia Wilson in there. I'm just saying between these two. Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is when she's on the basketball floor. Plain and simple. But we want to make it a debate, and I think that's just to get clicks. And look, Angel Reese, there's nothing that she does where you go, did you see her? Other than she plays really, really hard, and I liken her game to Moses Malone. Moses Malone was relentless. So it's not that I don't appreciate who she is or how she plays. There is no one like Caitlin Clark in the history of the WNBA. I mean, you had somebody who was the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history who plays for Las Vegas, and nobody talked about her. Nobody talked about Kelsey. Wonderful player. Nobody talked about her. Caitlin Clark is just different, and you saw that yesterday. Again, they beat a good team, and she was great. But her ability to get her teammates involved is what's going to stand out to me with her rookie season, to remind you of just how great she is seeing the floor. Yes, Paulie.
And how much is the WNBA?
Okay, so, I mean, he just puts it out there, and he says it. Now, the thing we got to think about with her, too, and I don't know that this is talked about enough, it's the combined scoring element. How much scoring is she literally involved with between her actually scoring points and assists? It's a hell of a lot of the offense. It's a bulk of the offense that she is directly tied to in some way, either feeding the ball to teammates or literally scoring the points on her own with playmaking and shots and logo threes and all of this kind of thing that Caitlin Clark is doing. Again, I don't think there's a Rookie of the Year race anymore. I think it's who's going to be second in the MVP voting at this point. And honestly, I think she's top 3 in the MVP race right now. And I think it's going to be, is there going to be a determination? Is she going to make it all the way to second in the MVP vote? All WNBA squad, I think that should very much be in play. And I think a lot of people outside of probably ESPN and a choice few haters out there, I think people know that this race is a wrap at this point. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.